Okay. Not only in the Hebrew are there two words for chest, right? But also in the Greek language. Now, this here is a modern Greek linear learner's pocket dictionary, right? And you can find these in any store anywhere in the world, right? If you want to learn Greek, right? Right. Now, the first word for chest you might find in it is here. It's spelled Mastos, right? In the direct English to Greek translation of the word, right? Now, those are the Greek letters for it. And it means breast, right? Now, only Jesus has this quality of androgyny, not anyone else full evil. Now, the word for goddess, though, is Thea, which is the Greek Thea, or translated to the English, right? And that means goddess, right? Gods, is on the other page, right? Mm-hmm. 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 And it's here, right? And over here are other words, right? Like actress, is Thea to Eva, actor, is Thea Re Nose, visible, is Thea Moss. Right. Now, let's see. Looking for Sigma now. Pi. There it is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, John uses both words, I know, of Christ and the angels, right? But with Christ alone, he adds the word mastos, right? Now, most men ignored this in the King James Version because it reads taps there. Mm-hmm. That's the old English word, again, for female breasts, right? Mm-hmm. So, in essence, Jesus can have both the chest of a man and the chest of a woman, or what's called metamorph, right? Now, if he can also be both in one body, right, that makes him a true hermaphrodite, then, right? Hmm. Now, men can't seem to understand this about the God of gods, right? See, not only is he the God of gods, right, of the male and female, mm-hmm, he's also greater than both as if put together in one body, right? Ah, there it is. Mm-hmm. So the second word is thethos, right? Underlined here. Mm-hmm. And it means breast or chest, right? Bosom, right? Now, John uses both words with Jesus, though, and Jesus alone, right? Now, this is where he says he is the first and the last, right? The beginning and the end, right? Right. Mm-hmm. And like I told you, all right, some people love to make a nuisance of themselves towards other people who are doing nothing wrong, right? Now, what they want is me to be like the kids who do the Columbine shootings, but I'm not, right? I ignore them and tell them the truth instead and show them they're wrong, right? And they just have a problem admitting they're wrong, right? I can't do nothing about that, right? All I know is I gotta behave even if someone's trying to bully me. And if I was to take it out on someone idiots, it would be the bully, right? I'm not going to shoot innocent people I don't know who might not would really bully me, right? Anyway, if I'm a grown ass adult and out of school, right? Get over it. Get over it. You sometimes get bullied, right? Even Jesus was bullied by the scribes and Pharisees, right? They're trying to entrap him in his own words sometimes, or trick him into saying something stupid himself, right? Like with Caesar's coin, right? Mm-hmm. But Jesus asked them a question back. Well, whose image and subscription is this? Caesar's, right? Well, then he said, well, give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and render to God the things that are God's, right? Because even in the Jewish market, they use a different coin, right? They use the shekel instead of the, whatever they call the Roman coin. They had different names for it, right? Even penny will do, as King James called it, right? Or drachma or something like that. I forgot. Mm-hmm. But you can look it up in your Bible. It's in there, right? somewhere. What I'm focusing on is the scriptures you ignore and aren't preaching on, right? Like I said, right? Mm-hmm. For some reason, you don't want to hear this, right? You ignore it, right? Hoping no one else will see it or something, right? Well, it don't matter if John wrote it, because he was also the only one to see Jesus on the cross, right? With his mother, Mary Magdalene, and another Mary, the wife of Cleopas, right? Who could be the same person mentioned, right, in Mark as well. Though it might be spelled a little different, I'm not sure, right? I know. Right. So, again, right, you see here how people tend to lie about it. And also, I can show you in the Bible itself, using the ancient Greek language, what I mean and why it's relevant, right? Now, if you ignore it, that's between you and Jesus and Satan, right? And God, who's trying to help us all, even Satan, right? That's the problem, right? You don't understand, right? See, Satan wasn't always Satan, right? He at one time was good himself, right? So again, this here word, right here, mastui, is spelled M-A-S-T-O-I-S, right? Well, that's how Luke spells it too. Except no S, right? So the S is probably used since in the Greek it's spelled with an S too, right? See, Luke spelled it differently, right? Right. He left off the S for some reason, right? Or the OS, right? Now, that could have to do with the fact that when a child nurses, they only suck one breast at a time, right? Right. Now, when you use the OS, what are you saying? Two breasts, not one, not one. Maybe. Right. Now, in the Hebrew, you see that too, right? Shad means one breast. Shadim means both, right? I know. Right. So again, the woman, Guinea, right, said, blessed are the mastui, right? Well, the only difference is this one doesn't have an S and the other one does, right? Is John borrowed from Luke? Yes. Now, Luke uses both words, but spells them different in chapter 23, right? Now, all I need are two witnesses. Luke is one, and John is the other. Yes. To establish a word or doctrine, right? I don't know. Right. So again, here Christ is again speaking of the breast, which give not suck, right? But here he still uses mastui, right? Because there's still one breast a child can suck at a time, right? Now, yes, it can go over to one breast or the other, meaning women usually have two breasts, right? But again, John also uses Stephe right here. See, that is S-T-T-E T-H-E in the Greek. Now, John uses two different words, though. One for bosom, and one for chest, right, of a man. But there again, Christ was with his disciples, still not in private or nude, right? When this occurs, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I tell you this only applies to Jesus. Mm-hmm. Now, Clopio, right here, is bosom, but Stethos, spelled the correct way in the Greek as well. Like I said, right? Spelled the same way there. And it only applies to Jesus, right? To use both, right? So there it is there, and here it is here. But in Revelations, he changes it to mastoids. See, this was when they were with Jesus in private, right? But he wasn't nude still. He wasn't half dressed. You still dress in front of your friends and, ancient Israel. you still don't go around naked, but John is leading on his bosom and breast, right? Now, he also mentions the girdle about the mastoids, right? Which you can only see where? On the cross. On the cross, he's at least half dressed, right? From the waist down, right? Not waist up anymore, right? And there are 3 Marys in front of the cross, right? As well. And one of them is the wife of Cleopas, right? And who someone in the book of Mark is traveling with, and they meet Jesus, right? But they don't recognize him at first, right? Until the end of their journey in. They bid him stay with them a little bit, right? And then after that, right, he disappears, right? Well, out of sight is out of mind, huh? Right? You think he's dead, right? And he walked with you all the way there, yet you didn't recognize him until the end, right? And then he disappeared. It's kind of like Beetlejuice. They saw him until they realized it was him, huh? Right. But they knew he was dead, right? So they couldn't see him for some reason anymore. It's like he disappeared, right? But was he not still there, too? Right. Only their mind shut off, right, from perceiving him because they were looking through carnal eyes and not spiritual eyes. Even there, Mark uses the word morphe to convey that he looked totally different, right? Like a different person even, right? Though perhaps not wounded like Jesus either, right? Until he broke the bread and they saw his wrist, right? And on his wrists or hands were the nail prints, right? Now, Thomas asked to touch the hands, right? So there's a discrepancy with the Shroud of Turin, right? Or the Shroud of Peter. You understand why I'm calling it the Shroud of Peter? Peter was also crucified, but upside down. Now, to hold the trunk of the body upside down, you definitely have to pierce the wrist, or you'd fall off. Because all the weight is on the body upside down, right? Your feet are right side up, though, right? If you're doing it that way. And they're nailed through, but your whole weight is on your arms and upside down, right? Now, Jesus was crucified right side up like everybody else, right? Now, there's 2 ways they could have done it with rope and nails through the hand, right? By the way. But if you're upside down, you definitely need to be down through the wrist, right? And that's why Peter's shroud is different. And he's about 5'10", right? And anybody can look like him today. And why do you have the shroud? Was Peter resurrected, right? As was Jesus. No. But who resurrected Peter but Jesus, right? Didn't he say there will be some standing here who shall not taste of death till all's fulfilled? Is Peter one of those persons? Right. Oh, you think it's because he's worthy or not worthy in the eyes of God, right? Or his own eyes, right? No. A gift is given to someone even if they don't want the gift or deserve the gift or know how to use the gift, right? Properly, right? That still don't mean, though, that, right? No, no. And this is, talking about Mary, the wife of Cleopas, right? Here, Maria, and again, Maria of Magdala, and right, Jesus, the mother of him, which is also a Mary. So you got 3 Marys before the cross, right? And then another Mary is called the mother of James and Josie, and they are said to be his brothers of Joseph, right? But the Catholics are trying to create their own doctrine, apart from the scriptures sometimes. Yes. All I'm saying, okay, is that's what they're doing, right? But it don't mean Jesus couldn't resurrect Mary as well as Peter. Right? He's the God of all flesh. Nothing is too hard for him. Right? Now, some are having visions of Mary. As well. Right? Now, he don't use specifically her name there. But Mary, the wife of Cleopas, and Mary the Magdalene, right, are revealed, right? So we know his mother's name is also Maria. In the Greek, that's M-A-R, which is like a P-I-A. Their R looks like a P to our language. And pi is also a P, but it's a P-I. M-P-I. And again, that's the whole point. Like I said, right? Now, sometimes, right, as people age, their hair does differently than other people's, right? But still, some people want to pretend because of age, the person is losing hair when it kind of looks like he's getting more hair on one side, but the hair on the other side is staying the same, right? That don't mean nothing. Why are you making it an issue every day, right? You did it yesterday, all the way back to before the pandemic, all the way back to once in a while, and even on my other YouTube channels, right, which are taken down because I violated some principle they had, right, rules, when there really are no rules, right? You make a rule to control somebody who's doing something you think is wrong, right? Well, if I'm educating you of right and wrong, and why some things are right and some things are wrong, and some things have nothing to do with right or wrong, right? The reason I'm doing that is there's 2 forces. One is completely benevolent, but the other one is trying to be completely malevolent towards us, right? That means one is trying to save us and one is trying to destroy us, right? And it's through a representation of the 4th dimension, or what was called the invisible heaven, right? Now, one of these beings, some call him Lucifer or Halel, in the Hebrew, right? He's also called something different in the Greek that begins with a B, but Lucifer is from the Latin, right? Right. That's what the Latins call him, or the Romans, right? Or the Italians, right? Right. They call him Lucifer, right? Well, Lucifer is the malevolent mean. He's trying to keep you lukewarm or less to get you to go to torment with him, right? Where he can punish you for your sins against God, right? And he makes everything a sin against God, right? Even if you're doing good, right? Or trying to do good. That's what he did with poor Job, right? Job wasn't doing nothing wrong. But Satan still came against him, using men as his hands to attack him, right? And his family, right? And gave him diseases, right? Because he's in the flesh after the fall. That's called tribulation as well. Satan was tribulating Job to prove him or disprove him to God, right? And in all this, Job never cursed God, right? Or blamed God, right? That was part of the test as well. Whatever your problem with me is, I'm not blaming God or others, right? I would know not to touch a 4-year-old, period, right? But I can't help it if she comes in the living room and wakes me up or something, right? That's all I'm saying, and you're supposed to bring her back to her mom, and I know that, right? What's your problem with that story? I brought her back to her mom. All you're saying by accusing me, though, is you would molest her. I wouldn't molest her. I would bring her back to her mom. I know that. Because, see, I'm not sure if that's her needing to pee or something, or her mom testing me. It could be either or. Now, if I treat it like she needs help going to the bathroom, and say even because she's in the living room, I pulled off her panties, right? I can explain that. I'm trying to help her go to the bathroom, and she came into the living room with me, and I don't know what's going on, so I just took off her panties so she could go walk into the bathroom and then turn on the light and then go to the bathroom. Right? Plus, the light was already on in the living room, so no big deal. Right? Plus, when I was on watch, I told you I was on the 12 to 4. That means I have to go to bed from 8 to midnight. And usually the lights are still on the ship until lights out, which is usually around 10 p.m., right? Then everybody goes to sleep, right? Plus, sometimes when the lights were on, and even though I was on watch from the 12 to 4s, nobody would really wake me up most of the time, right? And I had to wake up myself and still made it to muster, right? Okay, right. Ain't that a little weird if you're on a ship of shipmates who are supposed to help you and they put you on the 12 to 4s, but they don't even bother to wake you up for muster the next morning, right? Like, you got to wake up yourself or something, right? That's not babysitting, by the way, Acevedo. That's looking out for your fellow seller who's doing a watch nobody really wants to do, but ain't really trained for it. Except when he first got on the ship over 2 years ago. Right. Like, no one's really training me further, right, or teaching me more or less than I learned at A school. But the thing is, A school only prepares you when you get on the ship for your shipmates to train you, right? See, I don't know about you, but I gotta be trained one step at a time, right? Usually. And some people are that way. If you don't train them one step at a time, and they're dealing with electricity, they might not know what they're doing at all, right? So they never worked with that kind of equipment, right? Not professionally, right? So that's part of your job to teach me how to, ain't it? Right. Well, one of them's asking me if I'm gay and even got into an altercation because of it when I said no, right? And I was supposed to be working with him, right? Now, there are 3 guys, right, in that division called the generator division. Him, another guy, and second class petty officer. Well, one of them has to train me, right? So the one who might have had to train me isn't training me. Instead, he's asking me, am I gay? And I say, no. He asks me again, are you gay? And I say, no. And he asks me again, and I say, no. Right. Right. Because I'm not, right. He's trying to get what the Highlander would call a piece of ass. To train me to work as an electrician under him, or he didn't train me, right? And he didn't train me, and no one trained me, even when I was put in a different division under EMFM King, the guy I told you electrocuted himself, and saw me probably as the last person he saw before doing so. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I also looked like his friend who he was working with on the ship. We both had brown hair and brown eyes, right? And looked similarly. Mm-hmm. Though I'm a little shorter than him, right? So again, did he think I was him and tried to start doing the job before confirming the red tag, right? For himself, which he's supposed to sign too, right? Before they shut off the breaker to do the job, right? Now, if they're up there getting the red tag signed or something, right, I don't know, right? I'm new to the ship. I'm not even red tag qualified or watch qualified yet. Mm-hmm. And that only happens in 91, right? And most of the people either skate or gun deck in the Navy. You know what that means, don't you, Navy personnel? You ever heard of skating to the Navy? Or gun decking your job in the Navy? What that means? Am I using the word correctly? Mm-hmm. But you have to be in the Navy to know what I'm talking about. Now, if I'm trying to be gung-ho, and they're being and trying to make me a hoe, and I'm saying no to being a hoe, right? That's the point, right? Then I got another problem with a church I'm going out to. They're trying to get men who are single to stay single under the guise of eunuchship in that program, right? Where they're telling these guys they can touch each other. They're not a woman. Right. They can't jerk off with a woman but a man, because they might be tempted to have sex with a woman but not a man, right? I guess. Allegedly, right? At least this is what they told me, right? About it. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't do that either. Mm-hmm. I had 3 people that kind of do something odd. One tried to take a shower with me, and I said, no thanks, right? The pastor himself tried to hug me in the hall and put his hand between my butt. Right. What he did was straighten out the hand, and as he was hugging me, slide it between my butt, right? Kind of straight, though. He didn't cup it or anything, but he kind of put it straight between the butt. So I just froze and walked away and walked away. Then when I was in Norfolk, I was sleeping in one of the apartments they had behind the church, and a guy named Dan, right? Mm-hmm. I think I was having a wet dream, was trying to wake me up during my wet dream because he wanted to do perhaps the masturbation thing, right? But if I'm asleep, I didn't say nothing and quit humping the bed and till he stopped asking me and went back to sleep. Right. So at one point during a wet dream, if you're asleep, I know, and somebody wakes you up, right, you're better off acting like you're still asleep. Until they realize you were asleep. And you're not saying that because you're not trying to judge them, but you don't do that. You don't do that. Not in how I was raised in Georgia anyway, right? I know. And like I told you, I did have something almost happen to a campmate and a counselor who had to share one of the bunks in our bungalow or cabin, whatever you want to call it, right? Where, we all go to bed at a certain time, right? And then, he had to sleep with the counselor. And a few minutes after we go to sleep, he's jumping out the bed, right? Getting away from the counselor, right? So the counselor leaves, right? I know that he probably tried to molest him, right? And I asked, well, what happened? Was he trying to molest you? Was he trying to touch you? Right. And he said, yeah. And he asked me if he wanted to feel something good, right? Meaning masturbation. Now, this was a Baptist church, though. But it was still frowned upon what the counselor did with the 14-year-old boy. So, like I said, by the time I'm around Daphne, right, I know some men go after children, but not me, not you. If her daughter came in there to me, is the only way I could be tested there. And even then, I'm on the couch the whole night, right? Only reason I would have to go into the bedroom of the mother if the child did something odd with me, right? Herself, and say she put her crotch in my face or whatever, right? Or I had to help her pee, and then, right, she wouldn't go and pee, right? Oh no, after I undressed her, right? So I smelled her to make sure she didn't pee, right? And then I might have thought, well, does she want a bath or something? If I smelled something, I don't remember all that detail. But anyway, no, right. Yeah. And then I figured, well, her mom's there, so let's not worry about that and ask her who showed her that and then bring her back to her mom, right? Maybe. So I'm guessing all that, right? Could have happened, right? Because someone is insisting something happened when no one can know about it, right? And see, I'm not around them much longer after that. I moved back to base, right? Within the following that Friday or that Monday, I'm back on base. That's all I know, right? I don't even know exactly the day I moved back because it was over 11 years, right? Before, maybe longer, 11 and a half, before someone brought it up on YouTube, right? Now, my ex-wife is only exposing her own family who raised the daughter for 2 years while she was in the Navy, right? And was being medically discharged herself for having a brain tumor removed, right? And like I said, if you have parts of your brain removed, right, is she all there herself? You gotta wonder that, right? But even then, I'm not totally gone either, so even if the girl came in there, right, I know not to do nothing much, right? Because I know the mother's there. If I make the child even cry out, right, the mother can catch me with the child, right? There. So again, right, could have done certain things, but not sure of that. But if I did, that was to help her go pee, right? And only if she didn't go and pee and walk to the, bathroom, right, and go to the toilet, right, which is why you would take off her panties, possibly, right, trying to figure all that out. So she would have to walk to the toilet from the living room if she's in there with me, right? Right. At least around the TV area, huh? I don't know, I guess, right? Now, if there's a video camera, it could either be in the ceiling or under the TV or something, but right. That's like in 1984 by George Orwell. People are trying to use cameras to catch other people in a crime, but that can also be entrapment if the person is, like I said, not used to dealing with someone in that situation, right? And was trying to get to sleep before the child could have woke him up anyway, right? And like I said, that was even kind of like a dream or kind of like a weird experience. And I also mentioned masturbation because of the church, right? Like I said, right? I know. In a dream form, right? Though. Mm-hmm. But right. But that's why it was a confession in a dream form, right? Because you could have masturbated to her without her mother even knowing, but the child would know, right? I know. But the mother was still there, but, right, you don't usually do that, right? So like I said, that don't make sense, right? And whoever's accusing me ain't making sense, right? So they're not all there either, right? And they're trying to get me in trouble, it seems, for something they could have set me up with, but I didn't know was going on, right? I wasn't prepared for that, right? But that made me act awkward, but not, sexual towards the child too, right? Maybe. Which again, that's me guessing, right? If I don't know something happened and you keep insisting it did, there's only one way you can know. Mm-hmm. You either were told by me, right? And I don't remember the whole incident, right? That the child went in there to me, like I would have to tell my ex-wife eventually, right? Either way, even if she put her crotch in my face and was kind of trying to wake me up, or right. I tried to help her pee, and again thought it odd she didn't go and pee right right away, and was smelling to make sure she didn't pee right. Those two ways can be explained, right? What can't be explained is why this person's insisted I molested her. None of that is child molestation, right? Now, when you're with a kid you don't hardly know, though, right? Mm-hmm. And even if you were babysitting for a girl 4 to, say, 12 years old, right? um, which I did babysit a little bit, myself, but it was 2 boys. But anyway, I have babysitted before myself, right? And I helped with my parents with my sister until I joined the Navy, which was when she was between 7 and 8 or somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. And again, right, and I never touched her, though, like I told you, there was an incident where I was trying to practice my martial arts outside and was jumping backwards, and I accidentally landed on her shin under her knee. I'm not sure if it was the left or right, even, right? I don't remember all that, right? And broke one of her shins, right? So that was because I was trying to practice karate and ninjutsu outside, and I was jumping backwards, and she come running up behind me, like I said, and I landed on her shin, right? And then our parents were coming back, and I told them what happened. I was doing my karate and landed on Renee's leg, and I broke her leg, right? And they got her to the hospital, and they put it in a cast and all that, right? But that don't mean I was, did it on purpose, right? Like I said, even when I was sparring, I think Donna Jackson once, I might have gave her a black eye because I threw a jab and she didn't block it and it hit her right. I know. Mm-hmm. One time though, right? I wasn't trying to beat her up. We were just supposed to be sparring, right? And I threw a punch and she didn't block it, right? Mm-hmm. That's all that happened there too. I didn't make a big deal out of it. In other words, I didn't say, "Oh, I hit you." Right. I didn't bully her about it. It was just, one punch, and it don't mean, she didn't learn a lesson for that, I guess. But I didn't try to, keep hitting her. Or, right, things like that either, right? And I took karate from 13 to 17, which is over a 4-year period, which is usually enough time to get close to black belt anyway. And though now I kind of am, and I got a few plaques up there, right? But I achieved black belt in different styles, though. Right. I've learned a little jiu-jitsu and aikido since then as well. And probably close to black belt in those arts, but I can't really find the school around here. There's one kind of on Wilmington Island that deals in Aikido, but they don't even give a time when they're open. I know. And they're mainly closed, and it's just looks like a building they tried to do it in, but don't know when they're doing it in. And Cliff still has his old dojo, and there used to be one in Port Wentworth, and I went out to that one for about a year. I got the yellow belt with that system, right? And I even broke a board for the first time, though it took 2 tries, but that's because no one really showed me how to use Zen, right? But the second time I used Zen, and like the Karate Kid, I broke the board. And it was about 3/4 of an inch thick, which is almost a full inch, right? And right. And they even had people out there from a radio station, like 105.3, which is a country station, right? And again, right, everybody was doing a little bit of martial arts, right? And again, another guy had a problem breaking the board. But it's almost like I freaked him out by breaking my board, but when it was his turn, he couldn't break the board right. He lost his zen, right? I'm not saying he never broke a board before, right? I know. And I, focus on another person's failure to make myself look better, usually either, right? I know. But there was a guy who also was supposed to break the board, but didn't, and though no one showed me how to do that, I just went back to the movie The Karate Kid, where Daniel's breaking the ice, right? whatever. And then I put myself in the state of Zen. broke the board. And again, I moved on from that experience. All right. So, like I told you, though, people tend to mess with other people because Satan started all this in Eden, right? They even deny he was in Eden, right? Because he does too. And that's all I can tell you. The Gnostics knew it. Enoch knew it. That's in the Ethiopian Orthodox canon, by the way. They have more books of the Bible than King James. And the Catholics combined, right? And see, that means people are hiding the truth from you or testing you to see if you even want to know it. And most people, what? Don't want to know it. Don't want to know it. There you go.